This is Digivation Network.
Okay, good morning, sir. It's good to have you on this show, Digivation Network show that is live. And we are treating a very important topic this morning, and that is the rebuilding of Nigeria, the dangers of not building enough smart cities. We have been left behind in some other instances of a technological advancement. And now that this thing is like the future, we can't afford to be left behind in it again. So there is need for sensitization, there is need for proper knowledge sharing with the public and government, and that is the reason why we are having this conversation today. So let us officially meet you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. My name is Sir Aladekomo, the chairman, board of directors of Smart City, also in an executive capacity. I also chair Chance PLC, where I worked for about 30 years, retired, and then 5 years after retirement, I was called back to chair the board. I'm very fortunate, really fortunate to chair a couple of other boards, Educational, Wesley University, Supreme Education at secondary school, council member of a couple of universities, involved with a couple of secondary schools. I love education, I love religion, I love God, I love technology. But all these things are towards glorifying God. But how do you glorify God that you cannot see? But by serving humanity. So that's the one.
Thank you very much for that brief intro. So let us go straight to the point. So many people hear about smart cities every day, but have little or no knowledge about it. In the simplest of terms, can you please let us into that world of smart cities? What does it mean for a city to be smart?
All right. Just to put context to why I would like to discuss smart city with you, I registered a company in the year 2002. Year 2002, called Smart City Resorts PLC. Then we have Smart City Life, Smart City Resorts, and things like that, and then Smart City PLC. Because as of 2002, we believe our city should be smart. What do you mean by city being smart? It has to be digitally managed. It has to be technologically enabled for it to be smart. The infrastructure must be such that give convenience to life. I will take a simple example. You take a regular phone, a pure water phone, like we used to call it in those days, a Nokia 3310. I take a smartphone. A smartphone is smart in the sense that it gives you robustness. It takes care of everything you need to do. Whereas a regular phone, you can just make a call, possibly send the text. But in a smartphone, you can do a lot of work. It makes life very convenient for you, makes your life more cost effective. So when you take another city and a smart city will be a place where you can work, live, and play. A place that enhances the quality of life that you live. A lot of our cities or towns are just places where people live. They are filled up with a lot of agonies, a lot of sufferings, a lot of anger. But a smart city will give you good quality of life. It's also going to be environmentally friendly. It's going to be sustainable. What do I mean by environmentally friendly? A lot of our cities, a lot of our towns, globally, and most especially in Africa, are not sustainable. We deplete the natural resources. Everybody digs a borehole because the public water system is not on. So you dig your own borehole, and in a lot of cases, you dig it beside a septic tank. You drink water from rivers that are not too clean. You create more diseases. You create more agonies, more problems for people living in a town. But a smart city will resolve a lot of those issues in the sense that the infrastructure will have been very well planned. The governance will be technologically enabled. There'll be safety, there'll be security in a smart city. Now, one other thing you want in a smart city, in a very simple way, is for you to, in order to have a good quality of life, there must be entertainment. Like the man said, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. There must be the opportunity for you to relax. Entertainment in a well-structured manner, which we do not have now. We have beer parlors littered all over the whole place. The beer parlors are more of danger to us. The movie houses are all littered, all unplanned. In a smart city, we're going to have all those planned. So a smart city will be a place where you can work, a place where you can live, a place where you can play in a most sustainable way that will enhance the quality of life of the citizens in the simplest form.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We know that most of these smart cities in the world, they adhere strictly to the original plan of the cities. Now, in the case of Nigeria, where most times the original plan of cities has been abandoned, do you think it can still work pari passu in becoming a smart city? Smart cities, all these our major cities in Nigeria that are, like Lagos, for example, we know that the said Lagos originally had a plan but was abandoned. Do you think we can still come back? The plan can still be rectified to suit a smart city?
It's doable, very doable. But we need to qualify what you currently have that you call cities. When we were growing up, we had a particular area of Lagos called Jungle City. I don't know whether you ever heard of that word. Jungle City, that's our that's our jungle in those
Oh,
days.
okay.
Today, the entire Lagos, which is possibly the best city we have in the country today, can at best be described as a jungle city. We must thank some of our recent governments, especially the Fashola government and the Sanwo-Olu government, in revisiting proper planning. I do not see any city where you can really call a sustainable, a work, live, and play city. Abuja used to be one, but today is now being turned to another jungle city. Unfortunately, uh, politics aside, we need to thank El-Rufai for bringing sanity to that city when he was the minister. But now he's getting into becoming a jungle. Can we have create smart cities out of the jungles that we have today? Yes, we can. I want us to just discuss two terms that can make us achieve those.
Okay, sir.
One is what I will call polycentricity. Polycentricity. What does that mean? It means that you have a city like Lagos.
Okay.
Whatever you have in Lagos, you keep it the way it is. You now start building other cities run it.
Oh.
Multiple cities run the current thing you have. What you want to do is to stop further building within Central Lagos itself. And Central Lagos, in this case, I mean the already fully built area of Lekki, Ikoyi, VI, the mainlands, the Apapas, the Festac. Stop further approvals. Let you now go to the ASCET. Now properly plan the eastern side. That's the new area towards the towns. Stop development, plan them properly. And we still have large parcels of land in those areas. We plan them as cities. Now,
Around cities.
around Lagos. So you start new cities all over, some towards Ekpe, some towards the Kurudu, some towards the Express Road, the Agege towards Abeokuta side, towards Badagry and Semi-Border. You start new cities. You grant hundreds of hectares of land towards building brand new cities. And what you want to do in that polycentricity will be a subset of it called agglomeration. Agglomeration to polycentricity. Each of those cities must be specialized cities. So if you take Ekpe axis, you get, say, 1,000 hectares or 2,000 hectares near the trade fair at the new, international airport coming, the new deep sea port, the refinery and co. You want to build a city that is targeted for industries. So everybody working in there, they are servicing the industries around that area. You can now go towards Ikorodu and say you want to build an education city. You build an education city in there where a lot of your schools, a lot of research industries will be. Everybody living in there will then be targeted to that. You take another area, possibly towards Badagry, you build an agri mega city, whereby everybody living in there are all agglomerated towards doing a particular function. What agglomeration does for you, it makes people look for a job, to know where to go. So if you are building a smart city the way Smart City PLC wants to build it, we've been asking Lagos State to give us 250 hectares, 100 to 250 hectares. That kind of smart city will be work, live, and play for people in technology, people in e-payment, people in software development. So that when you go in there, the man doing software, the man selling phones, the man doing hardware, they are all within the same
together
area,
as a unit.
working together as a unit. So you have economies of scale within that area. Those people taking care of industry, there's economic of scale. Those people in agri, there's economic of scale. And so when you are looking for jobs, say in medical tourism, you have a place where all the hospitals, the medical diagnostics labs, all the specialties in medicine, they are all are. So you build another kind of city in that area. That way, the movement, your transport infrastructure is reduced. And then you can get that economies of scale in terms of production, in terms of output. So that is polycentricity supported by agglomeration. The other bit that we need to look at in the governments today cannot do it. And I just wish that our governors and the federal government, they will wake up and smell the coffee. The days of big governments or government doing everything is over. We lost it. We do not have the kind of resources that we need to build cities anymore, to even govern ourselves. And that's where the second term public-private sector partnership comes into play. Government has no business in business. Government has no business building cities. They have no business even running, even their own government. The man said the art of politics is too important to be left to politicians. Right. If the art of politics is too important to be left to politicians, now imagine the business. We can't leave it to government to do. Government should just get out of business completely. Create these cities and now call the private sector to say we need to build smart cities, polycentric cities. We're going to build an industrial city in this area. Get 2-3 companies that can get it done. We're going to build a medical city. Get 2-3 companies that can get it done. Put out a bid. We are giving you the land. Our investment in this city is our land. You go and look for the funding, do the planning, build the city. The advantage to government is that they are giving the land. Right now, the land belongs to them mostly. And they can always acquire more for public good. So acquire these hundreds of thousands of land, create these polycentric cities, and then come up with PPP, the private sector, to develop these cities. It may take 5 to 10 years. There's not going to be any shortcut into building cities. So the private sector can come in and build these specialized cities. The advantage to the government is that they not get more taxes than they are currently getting. Because right now, they don't even know where the companies are anyway, in the jungles that we call cities. They do not know, they see an hospital in a university campus or a manufacturing center in VGC, in Lekki. How do you know the kind of business that are there? But imagine in your own business, you have an entertainment city where you have a lot of the movies, you have the production, something like an Hollywood. Our Nollywood is one of the major earning centers, industries. Imagine having a city for Nollywood. Just call it Nollywood. Give them 500.
Content creation.
Is that
I said for pure content creation.
content creation? Imagine all the artists living in there, working. They are living, working, and playing within a city we call Nollywood. Imagine the burst of productivity that you're going to have, the kind of revenue they can generate for us. It's not Nollywood now that tomorrow you are going on the expressway, you see people shooting on the road, on the bridge. So the quality of life in those cities will improve. They'll be able to play. So bottom line, can we build new smart cities? Yes, doable. We must thank Lagos State government. We're discussing with them to us giving us that kind of land to build that smart city. They gave us something not enough, but heavily encroached. We're still discussing with them to get possibly like 200 to 250 hectares and build a city that is meant for technology so that all the fintech, people in identity management, people in software communications can be in that city. But on the Oyo State, they're giving us 100 hectares. We're building a city that is also going to be tech focused. You have the OT market, you have technology ops, or in that. We're discussing with other states to build a Greek or manufacturing. So
Okay,
Polycentricity and PPP can resolve these issues for us.
Okay, so we will still go back to the economic benefits of smart cities later. But before then, we know how complex Nigerian society is in terms of population, in terms of orderliness and things like that. How do you think this can be achieved in the next number of years?
There's a sense of urgency. We have real and present issues. No thanks to our governments that have lacked a lot of foresight. No thanks to our people that have refused to come to the aid of the government. Also, unfortunately, time is running out of us, out on us. We currently have a lot of uprising in the society. We have banditry, we have militancies, the Boko Haram capturing states, rule of law breaking down, our infrastructure decaying. Like I did say, we're supposed to have physical infrastructure and digital infrastructure. Unfortunately, our governments have not been able to even cope with the physical infrastructure, not to talk of the digital infrastructure. But it's still doable if we are able to take two of these areas that we discussed. That means building polycentric cities, coupled with agglomeration, and bringing in the private sector to get it done. But my fear is that we do not have so much time anymore to be able to do this. The level of banditry in the society, the level of lawlessness, the kidnapping is a major issue. And I must thank the certain governors that met recently. Yes, it's good that they came together to say that, yes, they are ready to make sure that this country remains one. And we have to, we do not have a choice. But they need to go a little bit further. The first thing I will ask them to do is to look at the digital infrastructure. Urgently, that's the one we can immediately tackle. The physical infrastructure, I've already discussed that, polycentricity, map it out, and then call the private sector. And Smart City PLC will be ready to advise pro bono on this. But collectively, those certain governors and even the northern governors, they need to build the digital infrastructure that can assist in creating smart cities.
Smart cities.
Like you asked your first question, what is a smart city? It's a work, live, and play place where the quality of life is enhanced, where safety and security is assured, where rule of law is enthroned. The easiest way for us to do that now is to go to the other side of physical infrastructure, to digital infrastructure. What do you mean by digital infrastructure? The most basic of that digital infrastructure is digital identity, which is what we have been for in Chancellorship for the past 30 years. We need to know ourselves.
Proper identification.
Identification. Why do we have banditry, kidnapping, Boko Haram, and all these militancy that we have all over the place? We do not know the person across the table. No talk of the person across the screen. Gorilla, I don't want to, Gideon, sorry. Gideon, I don't want to say that being across the screen for me, do I know you? Digitally, I should be able to verify it.
But I know you, sir.
You know it. Okay, you know this face. But with technology,
okay, yeah, that's another thing entirely, though. I know the face.
Yeah, but somebody could have, you have fake, deep fake, what you call deep fake now. Somebody can be impersonating me.
I perfectly understand that.
Yeah, so we need digital identity infrastructure. That is not, unfortunately, and that's what we've told government, let the private sector come in to get this thing done. Now we spend a lot of money, we've done a lot of work. That work is now being questioned under controversy on that identity, which is the foundational database we're supposed to build. But if they have allowed the private sector to use their money to get it done, the money that government does not have, why are they wasting it? Government has no business in business. Theirs is just to create the enabling environment for business, the policies, the enforcement, the rule of law. why get into building an identity infrastructure that has now been rubbished by controversy? Unfortunately, digital identity, we still need it. But as rubbish as the current effort is, we must purify it. If it's necessary, to audit it so that the noise and the cries that it could have been infiltrated, let us get the likes of KPMG, um, Accenture, Deloitte to come in, purify it. Some of our IT companies can also go in there and make sure that it is purified. And then let government do what government is, stay in policies, and let the private sector. BVN, as of today, at about 45 million records. No controversy, by the way, done by Champs and others. That's the kind of database that we need that are not controvertible. So we can get it done digitally. So we need the digital infrastructure, starting with digital identity. Then we now need the massive development of broadband, telecoms infrastructure in our environment. We still must appreciate ourselves. The cost of bandwidth is pretty cheap in the country, one of the cheapest in the world, by the way. Whatever price we are seeing the statistics moving. We need to still do a lot more in deploying that bandwidth. And it's going to be up to NCC to allow the private sector to do what they're doing. It's going to be up to the state governments not to get into business. Our very dear friend in Lagos, Sanwo-Olu, our brother, great guy, he has no business getting into owning the fiber infrastructure in Lagos. Government cannot run business. And he knew it from the banks. Government cannot run business. You're supposed to do policy and enforce those policies, collect your taxes, and use it for security and safety of your people. However, no matter how much that digital infrastructure of broadband is, a major infrastructure that needs to be in place will not be the educational infrastructure. Now, Lagos State and other states must now go online. Our education must now be digitally enabled. How do we bring in the private sector to enable all our students to have digital devices so that once we've identified them, we've given them the broadband infrastructure, they can now have education over that broadband? Because you do not have a choice. Education is no longer just going to be classroom. We need to engage our children about 18 hours a day. Yes, the classroom has a role to play, but we need to enable them digitally. The next thing we need to do for quality of life in terms of digital will now be the health system. Once we identify our people and we have the broadband, enough bandwidth for everybody, we've educated them enough. The next thing is health. Health is wealth. Our health must be digitally enabled. I was very happy during the COVID for what a group I belong to, a couple of implementations in our hospitals happened during that period. And I was glad I was part of those teams. Today, our hospitals are now digitally enabled. You're now able to log in, discuss with doctors online. You don't need to see a doctor for a lot of your ailments now. And through communications or through video conferencing, Zoom, all of that tools that you have, you can actually get consultation done. And when you now need to go physically for your medical diagnosis, that can be done. You still need to go there, but you don't need to wait to take your result anymore. Your results are now published online, and you can now consult your doctor after seeing results. And there are devices today, blood pressure, a lot of medical devices that you can connect. Some of the smartphones make sure that You cannot take those health vitals, load them online, and your doctors can help you. That is the best way for us to solve our health situation and create smart cities. We need education, we need health to give that quality of lifestyle that people need. Now, by doing this, we reduce the amount of people on the road. You want to go to hospital, you go to the road, school, you go to the road, banking, everything. So bandwidth, the infrastructure in terms of telecom is key, crucial. Who knows when we're going to have the next lockdown? So that's why I say identity, the communications infrastructure, which is as good as road infrastructure, but you see me putting it as number 5, the road infrastructure, and that's under physical. So identity, very key. Outcomes, bandwidth, very key. Education, key. And health key. And this is the fastest way. All these within a year, we can get to a good, comfortable level of getting it done. I know the telcos may take a little bit of time, but we have enough fiber now that has landed that if the private sector is enabled, we can start giving our people good quality of life with the private sector being heavily involved.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Before we go to the next question, we have a lot of participants online, and I would like them to send in their questions or they raise their hand if they have any question for you. But before we go into the area of the economic benefits of building smart cities, I would like us to look at. Oh, sorry, I need to meet some people. Okay. 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 I would like us to look at the dangers. If we fail to build enough smart cities for the future, what are the dangers?
You don't need to go to the future.
Okay.
You already have the problems today.
Yes,
the problems are here, they're already with us. So what you should be asking for is how do we solve our current issues, not even the future issues. Rule of law is breaking down because we do not have the infrastructures. Security, unfortunately, we met the federal government more than 25 years ago. A lot of the state governments, we've told them that we have these problems coming today. Banditry, militancy, kidnapping, there are issues that anybody in technology, anybody that is well read, should know that we're going to have. So our cities, we need to start planning them better. Even at the physical infrastructure bit. Look at the ways I mentioned the issue of water. The septic system. They are all in the doghouse. The society is just languishing. We do not have a choice because we cannot allow the current slide to continue because we're just going to degenerate jungle, even jungle lion still reading. But it's just going to become a completely lawless environment if we do not start considering how to turn our cities to be smart. Something I like to bring up, the current cities we have, even though they are not smart, we can make them to be smart. The most important bit is safety and security. For safety and security, you take part physical, part digital. I love the digital part because it's easy. Take Lagos, identity infrastructure. Will not take it too long to implement. I know Lagos has been trying with last one. I do not know the politicking that has been going in there. I know that Lagos State has tried to bring in budget. Lagos does not have any business using the state money to do identity infrastructure. Just allow the private sector to do it. Let them charge the people. Just come up with the policy. Within a year, the whole close to 30 million people in Lagos. Abuja, we can get it done in less than a year. A lot of the states in the north in less than a year. We can create that digital infrastructure. But I do not know why the state governments keep deciding that they must use their own money. Call a private sector guy. You said you can do this thing. How long will it take you? What are the policies you need? Sign a contract. And the private sector will do it. So for Lagos, a lot of our cities, we can do that.
Okay.
So it's not the future, it's today. The other thing that I like to emphasize in terms of physical infrastructure is the safety and security. We need a lot of intelligence system. Just building that digital infrastructure is not enough. We need intelligence system. The day you bring in a gun onto the street, the day you allow an armored tank on the roads of your city, that is the day you lose the war. So you need to bring in intelligence into giving your people security and safety, good quality of life. You need camera systems all over the whole place, digital camera systems on your traffic lights, on roads, even places where you do not have roads. There are digital systems now, camera systems, that you allow anybody in your database to know him. And people not in your database, you capture them. And you can search them globally. Once there's any photograph, the technology is now available for you to trace and track his family history. And that's what technology can do for us.
Okay.
And that physical bit we need to do.
All right. Okay, before we proceed, because we are approaching the end, I need to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Omar Binder of DG, that's the DG of NOTAP. We have with us also Abimbola Toki, the editor, Business World. We welcome you to this epoch-making interview. Also, we have in the house Daniel Moore from Sierra Leone. We have Peter Wuch of Business Network as well. We have John Awe, Moses Brahima, and others. Dr. Olu Oguloye, the former Minister of Defense. We cite you, sir. We thank you for joining us on this important conversation.